I know, wow.
Yeah, I know, well, yes.
Okay, because this show, unfortunately, for those that maybe didn't know, only 3 episodes actually aired
Yes.
in the US, and then so never actually fully aired. Thank you, television, ABC. So what is it like for you guys to watch this now?
Wow. Well, this is the second time we saw first with the hammer and then now all the episodes. And I just, first of all, thank you all for coming because it's so great. I mean, it's always seeing shows, and I just have to do a big shout out to David because he's with us tonight, and all the laughter and joy we had doing the show, this is what he wanted with all of you laughing. It's just a really beautiful thing. But I just am so proud and honored to be part of a David Lynch comedy because like none of his works really, this stands apart. And also, I think I can say, I've seen a lot of television, I think I can say this is the strangest television I've ever seen, and I'm honored to be a part of this. Yeah, I mean, he just went way out there, So, yeah, so I feel proud.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Ian?
Seeing it, I'm sort of a little overwhelmed, only because back in 1991, when we had made this, we'd gone on this great adventure. We had so much fun that there were so many obstacles, and people basically said this had to be buried and never to see the light of day. So this is wonderful. This is more than the light of day. This is just a joy, a great celebration, and we felt this way making this, and of course Miguel, who was one of my great friends, and also the great voice of reason, he would say like, "Hey guys, we shouldn't be having this much fun at work. This is not going to end well." We were like, "What are you talking about?" So this is just like remarkable, and as Nancye said, I think this is exactly how David saw it, and because we loved it, we loved doing it, and we knew it had an audience, and here you are.
Yeah.
Explain how you came to the project. How did it come to you? How did this start for you?
How did Lester die? I was doing Twin Peaks, and we were coming to the end of, I think actually we finished filming the second season, and David approached me and said, "I got an idea for you and Miguel, and it's going to be kind of like a 50s variety show. It'll be like kind of fun, and you're going to be like a washed-up actor with no talent. And there's going to be a song and dance man who can't sing and can't dance. You're going to have the best time." And I was like, "Yeah, okay. I'll do that. Why not?"
Lovely. And for you, Nancy, how did you come to it?
So, I actually, working with David was one of those things, if you had seen me before, you didn't ask me who would I want to work with, it was David Lynch. So,
Can I ask you, can I just interject there, like, what was it about him what work of his that maybe struck you that?
Well, as I told David, because David does, I auditioned for Joanna Ray as casting director, and then David doesn't have you read for him, he just has you come in, and by then, it was really just between me and one other person. He selects people, and he doesn't put people through a lot. He really is very empathetic to that process, and he knows what he wants. So when I went and talked to him, what I told him, which is what I'll tell you, is I had a friend that had a movie theater, like worked in one, but was managing, and Eraserhead was playing, and he said, you know, you can come and see it after everyone's gone. So I was in a theater like this in San Diego with my friend after midnight, and I saw this film, Eraserhead, and I told David for 2 weeks or longer, I didn't know if I had dreamt it, if it was part of my dreams, if my reality was changed for life. And then, you know, seeing all his works, you know, Blue Velvet was, you know, he just is phenomenal. And I just felt, being an artist, being a performance artist, that if there was someone that I could work with, he was the one. And so, yeah, it was a dream come true, and I kind of sort of saw it happening, you know, along the way. Like, I saw him at Dupar's, but I didn't really, you know, say anything then. But I met him at the premiere of Blue Velvet, and then his casting director saw me in some little movie called Rockula and kept my name on file, and she had to go through my commercial direct cast, whatever they are, agents, right, in the normal world. And I could just, when I got that call, I was like, oh my God, it's a David Lynch project. And then I read the script, and I'm like, I know this role, Ruth Trueworthy, and then, you know, so, and then I read for Joanna, so it was just like, it just kind of just lined up along the way, and came into being. It was just the best thing ever, and Ian and I are friends for life, so it's an added bonus, and we've lost a lot of wonderful people that were in the cast along the way.
Yeah, but they're forever with us. We get to see
Forever
them
with us,
and laugh
yes.
with them and be with them.
Yeah.
So when you got the part, like read the part for Lester Guy, Ian, what struck you about this character? Not David Stitch, but for you as you approached this, because it's what a remarkable character you get to play.
I think just the opportunity to kind of break free from everything that I'd been. I mean, Twin Peaks was kind of that for me, but I'd been playing this kind of romantic lead on television, and then to suddenly have just to get out and just to be like a full blast, like, you know, crazy and, you know, egomaniacal and all of these great things, I think was just very exciting. It was very exciting. And also, you know, as I still say, like, David could talk anybody into doing anything, including hanging upside down and swinging through a window, which I had read the script, and of course I read it in the way that you would read a script, and it was kind of like, you know, unless I guess, you know, feet get tied up, and I think, oh, sunrise, like, blah, 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 close up, maybe, you know, like, upside down head in the dog food, you know, I could handle that, like what? But on the morning of the upside down stuff, like I'm in my little, not exactly a trailer, what were they?
They were
little mobile cabinet.
coffins.
There was a knock on the door, and I kind of said yes, and David said, "Oh, hey, Lester, it's David. Hi, how are you?" I said, "I'm good, how are you?" He goes, "Good, good. I'm here with a couple of folks, and we're going to fit you for your harness." I said, "My harness for what?" He goes, "You know, for the upside down." I said, "Upside? No, that's not me upside down." He goes, "You upside down, and it's got to be peachy, peachy, peachy." It was, I think, 3 days. 3 days.
Ian was such a good sport that it's really not healthy to be upside down. So, yeah, we were concerned for him, but he was such a good sport. But he, you know, Ian, you're right. I mean, every single person that works for David, from every job, you know, that we all just are, you know, so inspired, and everybody wants to do their best, and everyone feels like they're part of something special, and it's just like an incredible family feeling. And I feel like we know every single person that's ever worked for David. We're part of a family, whether we've met them before or not. You just instantly know, and he just creates an atmosphere of so much joy and inspiration and creativity, and I mean, he's truly a magnificent, I tell you, I still speak of him in present time, person, because his spirit lives on. And so I have so much gratitude that people are able to enjoy this and see this, sort of infectious side of him, this laughter side, this comedy side, and outrageously bizarre. But you can still see all the elements that you see in other works.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's so important. Thank you, you and Mark, for bringing it to the world like this.
Oh, this is an honor. Like, I truly keep saying this, like, to be able to share it with audiences. And it was right from the moment it starts, you're like, I'm in this bizarre world, and you go along with it. And then it gives back to you. If you follow it along, there's a real heart to it throughout the entire series.
I like that you said that now there's life after on the air. I feel like for me there was that too. like it means Cecilia will be like 90 years old going, remember that show we did? It was the best time.
Well, speaking of that best time, what are some of your favorite moments? I'm sure when you're watching this, you're like, oh, right. Besides maybe hanging upside down, maybe it wasn't a favorite moment.
I think working with Angelo Badalamenti, who actually was on the set during the pilot and would write the music right there and write the lyrics, and I love that. He was also, I think, composing the music for the opening of the Olympics in Barcelona at the same time. So it was pretty funny. He was writing like, as we went strolling in, he's also like doing this like great like house. That was lovely, wonderful. Our guest directors, Jack Fisk, Leslie Lincoln Glado, Betty Thomas.
Yeah.
It was just great. It was great fun, very, just like very long days, but like just wonderful, a lot of fun, great time.
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm so glad to hear that. And for you, Nancye, Ruth is such an incredible character. I mean, as like a producer and assistant director.
Speaks so many languages.
I understand all.
What's great is when you watch you in a scene, right? You get to have this moment. It's funny in some ways, like we get to see you, right, as an audience member, and observe back and forth. Like, what was that like for you? Because you get to observe kind of all the chaos as your character.
Yes, and I mean, it was. That part is very much me, so that was really great that I could actually try to fix everything, make everything right, and I had a positive attitude no matter what would happen. But what was great, like I have to say, there's a fondness for the pilot episode that David directed and working with him, but because my role was, I connected mostly in real life with Corey, who was the script supervisor, meaning because I was in real life the role that she was playing. So I got to be with David and Corey and the DP, like I would be part of all the behind the scenes in real life and be my part. So it was like from the time I came on, he only called Lester, and I was Ruthie, not Ruth, so I was only Ruthie. So there was this seamlessness from the time I was on the set that it was the role the entire time, so I would go in and out with David's conversations and knowing everything. So I loved it because I also got to work with every single person in the cast, which is, not, I don't think everybody else got to work with everyone. You might have, because, but yes, but I did continuously. So, and having that, you're right, there was sort of this overview and responsibility, and you were like fully attentive at all times. So I liked it, but everybody was always sort of coming to me when it was lunchtime. I let all the problems going on, and everyone's relationships, So yeah, I loved it.
Fun. And for you, Ian, can you talk about your opening dance sequences? Expand on that, if you will.
Just ask him to do it.
Yes, that was, because of the period, it was like 57, and as they sort of talk about, it was like, beatnik and opening up. And it was interpretive dance, and there was a choreographer. I will not take full credit or responsibility or blame for any of that. Although I think I only saw the choreographer maybe like once or twice.
I know we don't
But
remember them.
we don't remember.
We don't
No,
know
I
who
kept
it
looking
is.
at the credits, like who choreographed that. But yeah, the whole kind of thing was all about expression and opening up and like vision, all of this sort of interpretive stuff. And we done the pilot, and then we did the 6 episodes, and of course I was always like, oh no, here we go, the dance. Why are we doing it? And I can barely remember it, and somebody would sort of say, well, it starts with the crossed feet, and the open, and all like a little lift. So, like the whole show was done, and we went to Rome together to promote it, and I got off unscathed then, but then I went to Paris, of course, with lovely Loretta Swit, who was promoting something she'd done. And I got to do this TV show, this chat show, and I kind of done there, and they, I kind of look off to this, they have sofas and chairs, like set up like the Tonight Show. Off to the side, I see this lamp standing. And I'm like, hang on a second, the lovely French people speaking lovely French. And I'm like, no, hang on a second. I'm like, why is that there? And they were like, we did the interview, and then suddenly they put the light on and brought up the music. And I was like, what? No! And so I kind of went straight to the bits and did the whole kind of and I was like, oh my God, this is like a nightmare. 2 months later, I went to Tokyo to promote the show, because possibly a year later, it was coming out on Blu-ray, and I go there and I'm in a studio and sit down and around the thing and chatting, and I look over and I'm like, no! No! There they have the same thing. So
I mean, we have, my staff is going to bring
bring it on. I can handle it. I can't raise my knee the way I was
I'm so surprised that they didn't have you do that in a room. I would have been there, like, I'm always like bringing.
Well, we didn't do a chat show. We didn't do a TV show, did we? We only did like press and stuff.
Yeah. No, I don't know. We came off the plane and people had cameras right away.
Nobody had a lamp.
No.
So
the lamps are just following you.
Yeah.
Well, it did, but yeah. So yeah. It's funny. Every time I see it, I get a little PTSD. But I hear the music. Well, especially in the pilot, because it had been choreographed, but I was doing that for days in the background, the whole intro. I was back there, and I kept saying in my kind of sort of selfish acting way, are you really seeing me? Do I actually have to be here? Do I actually have to be here? Can't you do that? I know you have to. David said, no. It's all about Lester in the background. So if I could move like that now, I would move like that for you.
Well, thank you for that. And I mean, again, it's a remarkable. It's so great. I mean, you heard the applause we just mentioned your dancing. It's love. It's very much so. Which then makes me think of the scene where we get to see you sing and dance together. The Mr. Peanut song is, by the way, the innuendo stuff.
I don't know. We were
singing Mr. Penis.
Yeah.
Mr. Penis. That's what we were singing.
We had very long days, and we were, like, for that, we were laughing so hard, we could, like, barely get through, like, the nights that were, it was so funny.
Yeah.
And we did that dance number, it was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Mr. Penis, yeah.
Mr. Penis. Give and take a smile and
Right.
turn it up to you. Shucks,
It's
Mr.
Mr.
Penis.
Penis.
rich show. Because I know we have some fans in the audience, I would like to open this up for a few questions if anyone has them, but please make sure that they are questions. If you have a question, yes, right here in the middle. We're going to bring you a mic. Hold on, just give us 1 second so that the audience can hear.
Did you guys have any like discussion of where this show was going? Like if it were to have gone on beyond the.
So we thought we were cheers.
Yeah, no, but David said to me, the very first scene you saw was the very first scene we shot, and it was Marla, me, and David, and it was a closed set, except for very few people and his agent, Tony Kranz, and David came up to Marla and me right before we were shooting the very first bit of anything, and I said, and you know what happened to Cheers, right? So he thought we were going to be doing it for 9 years, and we were like, yes, we're in. So, but we weren't privy to any storylines or anything like that. That we were surprised in every script, and we didn't really know, any sort of plan they had after that. But you can only imagine.
I know, 9 more years of that.
Right.
Wonderful role. There's a question in the back middle. Wait, my colleague Elliot's going to come up and give you the mic.
Was there a lot of ad-libbing going on, or was it strictly part of the script?
We kept to the script quite a bit. One of my fond moments is the whole pilot episode when that whole little speech about me explaining how Snaps doesn't like Welby Snaps dog food, and you put the string through, attach it to his collar, put it through the ball. That all David gave me literally 1 minute before I shot it. Like, he's like, oh, we're gonna do this now, and I'm like, okay. And he just told me what I was going to say, and I'm like, okay, word through word, sure, I can do that. But he gave us that. And I don't remember ad-libbing anything. I mean, Marla, because now when I see it, I see those moments, like when she sings the bird in the tree, and then she's like, I love Ruthie very much. She did that, she added that. So when I see that, I'm like, oh, but I think we kept to the script.
Yes, we did, because there was very much a through line.
Yeah.
There was very much a message going on all through each show, so you couldn't really kind of veer too.
Yeah, there was like, it's not with the other directors, but David also did a section with me with Shorty when he was holding and he was like, Rick, I can hold a bunch of pounds. And he had us do that like like 15 minutes. I mean, he just kept going. He just wanted to see us do that scene and just see what we would do for a very long time. So with David, I would say the ad-libbing was more in him, how he was directing or what he added. So we didn't so much. It was more that he just creatively had these spaces that he wanted to take.
Yeah, wonderful. I believe there was a question over here. Yes, right here. Mike is coming to you.
I don't really have a question, but I was a choreographer on the last episode. The woman with no name.
Oh,
Introduce yourself.
So yeah,
Her name was Bettina.
Yeah, she's lovely.
And the saxophone player, I also did a movie before. His name was Greg, I think, Greg Sporlander. And I think they cast him because he looked exactly like Chet Baker. So there was that. And I don't know how much I have to add to that. I'll just say, can I say one thing?
Wait, before you do, please say your name.
My name is Myrna Gagrin.
Craziest
episodes of television ever.
Say what?
One of the craziest.
It was such a good television because I remember standing behind the camera at the very end with the entire cast and all the shoes of the executives. Because we didn't, as you said, it wasn't, I mean, I came with a bunch of plans and they all got kind of thrown out the window. So the very end, I stood behind the camera and like there were the executives and all you guys that were, whoever was in that room, and I stood behind the camera and just, you know, did whatever I did, and people were following. Very hard, it was very hard. And I'll just say one thing is that because it didn't air, you know, they only aired 3,
Yes.
right? I didn't get to see it because at that time, you know, everything was on VHS, so I called the production office, and they allowed me to come up. They put me in a room with a single VCR and about 40 deer heads in the dark in Twin Peaks. And I watched my episode like surrounded with deer heads. They were perfect. Anyway, it was the most fun, and it was the craziest day. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for the.
Beautiful. I know there's one more question, but okay, we're gonna go right here.
Thank you. How much was David Lynch involved in the episode that he didn't direct?
Well, he directed the first episode, so for all, you're asking about all the other 6?
Yeah, like what was his involvement in the other 6 episodes?
So,
Well, he wrote the last.
he wrote the last
Wrote the
one,
last one.
and he was, we did a table read with him. If he wasn't there in person, his voice would be in the middle of the table.
Speakerphone.
Yeah, so just like Twin Peaks, those are all people that that all the other directors are people that he loves and people that have worked with him before, like Leslie Lincoln Glatter. She did two of our episodes, worked on Twin Peaks, and Jack Fitz was obviously, Jack's sister was his wife, David's wife at one time,
Yes.
so they were family. And Jonathan Sanger produced Elephant Man. So that's how David was. He wanted Twin Peaks to go on, and he wanted On the Air to go on, and he wanted these wonderful directors that were part of his life and could continue on his vision. So he's very much involved and very much believed in the talent that he was bringing on.
We're gonna unfortunately have to wrap this up. I would like to give one more thank you to Mark Quigley, because again, he is the one who made sure that this all the time that you get listening to a DCP format for us to actually be in theater to see. I need to thank both of you so much for your gifts and talent and generosity, for not only what you did on this show, but for sharing that with us here. Again, this is incredibly special and rare, and it feels like so perfectly tied to a video store in our history, so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This means so much, I think, I mean, it's lovely, it's wonderful. Thank you so much. It's just a great, not the end of I think it's just like it's beginning, like again for us, like on the air. It's just like so exciting and so lovely, and I appreciate it, we appreciate it. So thank you for your support.
We're looking forward to seeing you back at Vidiots. Thank you so much.